Matt Armstrong's journey just took a shocking turn, and no one saw this coming. His dad has stepped in with a strong decision, pulling the trigger in a way that now threatens to shut down the entire Miami workshop plan. What was meant to be a big step forward is now filled with doubt and uncertainty. The excitement has slowly turned into tension, and everything feels at risk. This situation is deeper than it looks, and it could change everything moving ahead. Why did his dad make this move now? Can this plan still be saved before it is too late? Join us as we break it all down. Truth behind Tony and Matt's working relationship. Talk about the speculation surrounding the working relationship between Tony and Matt started quietly in Leicester. At first, it was just small conversations between a few people who followed their work. Over time, those discussions slowly spread across the automotive community until it felt like almost everyone had something to say. As their channel continued to grow, opinions became stronger and curiosity became even more intense. Many people began asking questions about how much involvement Tony really had in Matt's projects. The topic came up again and again in different spaces. Some believed Tony played a major role behind the scenes, while others thought Matt was doing most of the work on his own. As interest increased, so did the number of assumptions. At the same time, it became clear that Tony had a long history in the mechanical world. He had spent his life working as a mechanic, gaining experience through years of hands-on work in garages. This naturally made people wonder how much of that experience influenced the projects seen on the channel. On the other side, Matt brought a different kind of strength. His skills were shaped by modern practices, including filming, editing, and understanding how to present content in a way that connected with viewers. As the channel gained more attention, some people began to question whether the father and son relationship gave Matt an advantage that others did not have. This idea became one of the most common talking points. It led to more questions about fairness and opportunity. People wanted to know if success was coming purely from talent, or if Tony's experience played a bigger role than it seemed. Another concern that kept appearing was about what happened behind the camera. Some believed that the difficult parts of the work might be handled by Tony, while Matt stayed in front of the lens. This idea created a sense of doubt for some viewers. They wondered if what they were seeing truly reflected the real effort behind each project. As time passed, more details began to come out, and the situation started to look different from what many had imagined. The working relationship between Tony and Matt was not built on favoritism. Instead, it was built on mutual respect. Each person brought something valuable, and both contributions mattered equally in different ways. Tony's strength came from decades of real-world experience. He had spent years fixing cars and solving mechanical problems long before online content became popular. His understanding of vehicles was deep and practical. Matt, however, had developed his own skills through a different path. He had learned how to create content, how to present ideas clearly, and how to work with modern tools and techniques. When they worked together on camera, their roles felt natural. This was because each person focused on what they did best. One handled the mechanical depth that came from experience, while the other handled the creative side that made the content engaging. Instead of one person carrying the other, they worked in a way that balanced their strengths. Even after this became clearer, curiosity did not fade. A new question began to take shape. People started to wonder about financial support. There was a growing belief among some critics that having access to Tony's garage made everything easier. The idea of free tools, free space, and free parts became a common assumption. This led to another important question. Would the channel have grown the same way without that kind of support? In the automotive world, projects can be very expensive. Car builds often require a lot of money, time, and effort. Because of this, some observers found it hard to believe that everything was achieved without extra help. Tony later explained that these assumptions did not match reality. The situation was not as simple as it appeared from the outside. According to him, Matt worked through the business in the same way any employee would. There were no shortcuts or special treatment when it came to earning and learning. During earlier years, when BMX riding was a major focus, Matt still took on different part-time jobs. These jobs helped cover daily expenses and also supported his projects. Work did not only happen in the garage. It also included delivering food, working behind a bar, helping in automotive retail stores, and spending time in tuning shops. This part of the story showed that money for parts and materials did not appear easily. Everything had to be paid for step by step. Skills were also developed slowly through practice and effort. The garage provided a place to learn, but it did not remove the need for hard work. As more people understood this, opinions began to shift. However, one more question remained. If money was not the hidden advantage, then what about the early builds? This became one of the biggest areas of discussion. Some people found it difficult to believe that a young creator could complete complex repairs without heavy support from someone with many years of experience. As projects became more advanced, this doubt grew even stronger. It raised concerns about who was really doing the work during those early stages. Tony decided to address this directly. He explained that the actual work on those early projects was done by Matt. The knowledge Matt used came from years of growing up around the garage. Watching, listening, and learning over time helped build his understanding. When challenges came up, Tony provided advice. However, the responsibility of using the tools and completing the tasks stayed with Matt. This approach followed a natural learning process. Guidance was given when needed, mistakes were corrected, and lessons were learned through experience. This explanation helped people understand why the projects showed clear improvement over time. The builds were not perfect from the beginning. Instead, they reflected real learning. Each project showed progress, and that progress matched the journey of someone gaining skills step by step. Later collaborations also created new discussions. Projects like the Ferrari 430 build brought fresh attention and fresh questions. Some believe these larger builds meant Tony had taken full control of the work. Once again, the reality was simpler. These projects were joint efforts. Both Tony and Matt worked side by side, sharing responsibilities. Each person handled different parts based on their strengths. The results came from teamwork rather than one individual doing everything alone. Looking at all the speculation over time, a clear pattern began to appear. Every time the channel grew, new questions followed. Every time one question was answered, another one replaced it. This cycle continued as long as the audience remained curious. This kind of situation is common when people watch a family working together in public. Viewers naturally ask if the success is real, if the support is fair, and if the work is shared equally. These questions do not come from nowhere. They come from a desire to understand what is happening behind the scenes. When all the details were finally understood, the picture became much clearer. The relationship between Tony and Matt was not about unfair advantage. It was about combining experience with effort. It was about trust built over many years and a shared passion for the work they were doing. Instead of one person standing behind the other, they stood next to each other. Each brought something unique that could not be replaced. This balance became the real reason their work started to stand out more. In the end, what seemed complicated from the outside turned out to be simple. It was a partnership built on respect, learning, and consistent effort. As their journey continued, this foundation explained everything about how their work developed and why it connected with so many people. Real connection behind Matt's builds. Many people who regularly watch Matt's build videos often notice a familiar face appearing again and again. That face belongs to Tony Armstrong. What stands out immediately is that Tony never appears to be just a background presence. He does not stand quietly or simply observe what is happening. Instead, he is always involved in a meaningful way. He often points out something useful, shares a practical idea, or notices a small detail that others may have missed at first. This consistent involvement naturally leads viewers to wonder what truly happens behind the scenes, beyond what the camera shows. Tony's presence adds something special that goes beyond the technical side of the work. It introduces a personal layer that changes how the videos feel. Because of this, the content does not come across as ordinary repair footage. It feels more genuine and more connected to real life. During many builds, Tony plays an active role in identifying problems. He helps figure out what might be wrong, suggests the next steps to take, and sometimes explains why a mistake happened. This level of participation has a strong effect on the overall mood of the workshop. Instead of feeling like a structured production set where everything is carefully controlled, the garage begins to feel more relaxed and natural. It feels like a space where people are working together, learning as they go and solving problems step by step. This shift in atmosphere makes the experience much easier and more enjoyable to watch. Many automotive channels focus on showing perfect work and flawless results, but here the process itself becomes the main focus. The conversations, reactions, and even small disagreements happen in a natural way, and that honesty keeps viewers engaged. Matt made an important choice early on to involve family members in many of his projects. That decision shaped the channel in a very noticeable way. Whenever Tony appears, the tone becomes warmer and more inviting. It feels less like a performance and more like a real conversation between people who are comfortable with each other. This creates a strong sense of authenticity that is hard to recreate in a controlled setting. This brings up an important question. Would the channel feel the same without that family presence? The answer is likely no. The interaction between father and son creates moments that cannot be planned or scripted. Sometimes a repair does not go as expected. Sometimes a tool does not fit the way it should. Sometimes a plan has to change halfway through the process. These moments become more meaningful when there is another person present who reacts honestly in real time. Tony's experience is another key part of what makes these interactions so valuable. After many years of working in garages, he has developed the ability to quickly understand a problem and suggest a direction. When Matt faces something unfamiliar, Tony often steps in with a calm and clear explanation. He does this in a supportive way, without taking over the situation. Instead, he helps guide the process forward while still allowing Matt to remain actively involved. This balance between experience and curiosity is something viewers notice very quickly. Tony brings years of knowledge and practical understanding, while Matt brings energy and a willingness to try new things. When these two qualities come together, the result feels natural and unforced. It creates a dynamic that is both educational and enjoyable to watch. The working relationship between Matt and Tony is likely one of the main reasons why so many people continue to follow the channel. Of course, the cars themselves are interesting. The builds are detailed and the restorations are impressive. However, the real connection often comes from the relationship between the two of them. Their interactions add depth to the content and make it more than just a series of mechanical tasks. There are many moments where a build does not go as planned. In those moments, the camera captures genuine reactions. Viewers can see the frustration on Matt's face when something does not work out. At the same time, Tony is often nearby, looking at the same problem with a calm perspective. He offers a suggestion or a different way of thinking, which slowly helps bring the project back on track. These small exchanges create a level of honesty that cannot be easily recreated. Viewers are not just watching parts being fixed or engines being rebuilt. They are watching a real interaction between two people who understand each other well. They can joke with each other, disagree when necessary, and still continue working together without creating tension. This natural flow makes the videos feel more relatable and more human. Another important point to consider is how these imperfections actually improve the overall experience. If every build went perfectly from start to finish, the content might feel less engaging. The setbacks, the small challenges, and the unexpected moments all contribute to the final result. They make each success feel more meaningful because viewers have seen the effort that went into reaching that point. The presence of Tony helps highlight these moments even more. His calm approach and steady mindset provide a sense of balance during difficult situations. At the same time, Matt's reactions bring energy and emotion into the process. Together, they create a rhythm that keeps viewers interested from beginning to end. In the end, what makes these videos stand out is not just the work being done on the cars. It is the connection between the